crossing the hierarchy when he hates Zelensky, because Zelensky was the source. It's not his fault, but Zelensky was the source of him getting impeached the first time.
Oh yeah, that came out, I think, in a very unplanned way during that cabinet meeting where he just started
Russia. You think that it was bad for Putin that people were saying that he had his hand up your ass moving the mouth parts?
It's also just the way he clearly...
That did not play badly for him at home.
It's quite an interesting way of like trying to convince people that there wasn't a quid pro quo in the first place by now obviously having one.
It's just like, it's all like he thinks that Putin's a real boy. He thinks Putin's a real person. The way he's taught, he's like, I mean, he had to go through all that and we trauma bonded. It's like because we were both being investigated for Russia.
My theory is Putin's got a very attractive interpreter that interprets to Trump in his ear with our hand on his knee.
His daughter.
Come back to your point about the Democrats as well. I think that it is kind of the message of Team America World Police, isn't it? Where the whole point of that is these wars are stupid, but occasionally there actually is something that means you have to go and shoot the baddie. Because that's what I think. What I think Putin's been doing is he's been fucking with the Republican end of this, but what he's really been doing is just sort of like pushing on the Democrats to go, it's like a badly behaved child, just testing how far can I go before you actually go, right, that's enough, and meaningfully do something. And I think that's the problem, because my opinion still is that we should actually just be in Russia. We should just, I would absolutely just fucking go in and say, you've invaded Europe, you're the aggressor, you've invaded, we're going to go in and defend, and we are going to encroach on your lines until you pull your troops out, and we're going to keep going until that's the end of it.
If you've ever tried to introduce two cats to each other.
Yes, exactly.
It's like that, where there'll be kind of a lot of like sort of very still hissing and spitting, and then you think they've calmed down, and then one of them just swipes, and you're like, no. Yeah. Well, that's what I think. That's Russia and America. But I mean, well, now they're cozying up, though. So.
I think one of the problems is that when the sort of Berlin Wall came down and the USSR ended, our side thought we'd won.
Yeah, certainly the American perception of that.
And that was over.
Yes.
But it turns out they didn't think that. And they carried on.
Which I think is it's so funny when you look back and look at that period of history. It was just like, the minute we get a McDonald's in there, they'll realise, you see that in Iraq as well, like the minute they get a whiff of this America stuff, all those Russians will think, why the hell were we even Russians to begin with? This is a lot better.
As soon as they, after that sort of brief few days of the surge and they toppled Saddam, one of the first things they did was just like send a load of fucking lorries full of DVDs and stuff in. Yeah. Like that was going to be
Is there not footage though after like the wall comes down and all this happens that there is like the first McDonald's open in Russia and there's all this news coverage of them queuing around the block for it, and it is kind of like America going, job done. That's all that required. A single bit of meaningful diplomacy.
What he's basically saying with his Ukraine plan, we'll just get a bunch of our workers in and then they'll never want to attack because
it's that position of because
never ever said one thing and then did another.
But this comes back to like what we're saying about the like the way that in their minds they don't see themselves as like the loser Nazi nerds. So like one of my joys on Blue Sky at the moment is whenever an American says like, I'm so embarrassed about this, the world will never forgive us, this is shameful. I'm like, no, we always thought you were crap. And we think the same with the Russians. But what you're seeing is two big cats that really think they're all that in a bag of chips. Because one side's thinking once they understand what it means to be Russian, they'll get it and they'll become more like us. And the other side's, but once they get a whiff of America, it'll be this. And we're in the middle going, why are you two like this? Can you not just be fucking awful?
Awful.
That's what's actually coming out finally after all this kind of Cold War sneaky beaky shenanigans. We're starting to realise maybe you guys were just kind of losers the whole way through. Because it happened after the Nazis, Phil. You look back at them and go, you were a bit crap, actually, underneath all that bravado. So maybe that's how it's going to go. But it might. The problem, to come back to the main point I was trying to make there, was there could be a kind of Chernobyl-y situation, though. Because if history was to repeat fully on the other side of the spectrum, I think that might be it. Where if they keep doing all these cuts.
Like people keep posting pictures of that there's like hand touching at a red hot stove top. It's just like, yep, this. You can only warn them so many times. They're going to actually have to touch it.
Listen.
They don't care if they drive the economy into a total recession, because they don't actually. None of them or anybody that they know or engage with would be affected by that. They don't have real money. All of it money has never been faker, and never before have the hands of so few been in the pockets of so many. And all that happens during recessions is that wealth is consolidated at the top, and the wealth inequality grows, and that's probably the aim of many of them.
As long as my Melania coin keeps going out. I think it's true that like they're doing themselves more damage than they are probably anywhere else, but obviously there is, you know, a lot of ramifications for us as well. One of the things we talked about before, like when we're talking about Luigi in that episode, was how we actually benefit from the American healthcare system in a kind of perverse way because it's so massive and there's so much money in it. I think it's like they do like a third of all the world's like research, and a quarter of their money is the National Institute for Health. They are state-funded development research guys, and obviously Trump has started to gut that with Elon Musk's twink nerd army that he's put in. So that is really going to have a knock-on effect for healthcare across the entire planet. Plus his USAID stuff.
I mean, there's horrific things that could come about as a result of that, because cutting off AIDS drugs to people might lead to drug-resistant AIDS, and that'll fucking wipe out millions worldwide.
Elon Musk like, we're sending 50 million condoms to Gaza. Yeah, to Hamas. I was like, no.
You're Gaza in Palestine, you fuckwit. Look at them up!
We're sending HIV prevention to Africa. It wasn't even Gaza. It was to African nations. He got the name wrong because they're all.
I don't mean to suggest that a South African might not have been super happy about that as well. Potentially, he might just have kind of caught himself and gone, "All right, I'll kind of pivot on that one." Because I mean, he is a fucking racist.
He tweeted the other day saying something like, "The only reason that Tesla is not so like the reason that they won't accept his business in Africa is because he's white." And someone replied saying, "So are all these companies black owned?" And it was like, McDonald's, just like a list as long as your fucking arm. It's just like every single thing that he says and does is just dishonest and with the worst motives.
Yeah,
just the absolute worst cunt on the planet. If he's the richest man in the world, he's also the fucking worst. We need to start saying that more, because if we make fun of him enough, there's a very, very good chance that he will fucking kill himself.
Or at the very least overdose on ketamine, and I'll take that.
After the Dave Chappelle thing, when he went on stage with Dave Chappelle and everyone booed him, they had to do a wellness check. Like, people who worked for him phoned up the cops to do a wellness check because they were like, he's locked himself in the office, he won't come out, we think he's going to top himself.
His brain's doing the thing a normal brain would do, which is, oh, people don't like me because does that mean I'm a horrible guy? I should better myself. I should do this. He has to figure that out, because the answer is no, I'm not going to better myself.
No, it's the anti-fascist sir, Rob.
Then we let that suicide magic happen. That's when we go for, okay, yeah, he's had the choice and he made the wrong one. Hitler had the choice. Everyone's got the choice. He can't be like you don't do fucking mental health with Nazis, for fuck's sake.
I don't know if he will kill himself because he's so much of a narcissist. It's hard to know if he'd actually go that far, but there are two good things happening. First one is Trump's really getting rid of any kind of sense of the justice system in America working in any kind of non-partisan way. It's just being used as a weapon now, openly, and it's incredible some of the stuff they're putting out now. Have you seen some of the court cases? Mm-hmm. And it's just blatant. One of the latest one was he's now banned a lawyer's company from even setting foot inside federal buildings. And why? Because they had been the ones that had prosecuted him in one of his court cases. I mean, it's blatantly just like mafia tactics.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's awful and that's terrible, but these guys are not going to be in come the next election. They're probably going to lose the midterms quite badly, despite how shite the Democrats are. Oh. And then the next thing that's quite good is that he has committed lots of crimes very openly and with tons of, like, everyone knows about it. And how they have so many enemies, even amongst their own crowd, who are at some point going to be very happy to shop each other in.
And the Americans are very much better at prosecuting white collar crime than we are. I mean, there's a great book called The Butler of the World, which is all about the problems with corruption in the UK and the way we basically, after we stopped being the empire, we started being Jeeves instead and facilitating, money laundering via all the fucking tax havens and this sort of thing. But the guy, Oliver something, I'm sorry, I can't remember his surname, the guy that wrote the book said that the sort of seed of writing the book came because a friend of his who's an American journalist who writes a lot on anti-corruption stuff in American politics wanted to know who he should speak to in the UK for the equivalent thing, because over there, for instance, a routine thing that journalists do is just sit and go to Congress and go to you can go and fucking just go through all the expenses and go through all the receipts of congressmen and see what they're spending their money on, what they're spending campaign money on, all this sort of thing. And people just go on fishing expeditions and sit and read through, and then those people go to jail. Not the journalists, obviously, the Congress people. Quite often, it's not uncommon at all.
That's changing.
And this journalist thought that the writer of this book, Oliver, I'm sorry, I can't remember your surname, was just being a bit awkward with him because he couldn't tell him what agency to go to speak to that dealt with prosecuting white collar corruption in the UK. It's like, well, there isn't one. And the guy didn't believe, what do you mean there isn't one? We don't have an equivalent of, the Southern District of New York. We just don't have anybody. The closest we've got is the City of London Police Force, who their fraud squad, basically, they are the place. But that's literally one team in the whole of the UK.
Have you heard about all the Eric Adams stuff? That's pretty wild as well.
That's just, it's like, prostitute yourself more, mate. Why don't you? I think the TV appearance where the guy going, it's all right, he's going to do what we say otherwise. Yeah.
Oh, well, he's always been, he was a Republican before he was a Democrat.
Was he?
Yeah, he was always a Republican. Sad. Yeah, he was always a plant. But, oh, yeah, he's a clown. And
yeah, it's crazy. Just so blatant. It's not even hidden there. It's just
nope.
Openly.
I mean, the fact that they're creating a Federal Reserve for crypto.
And the Fed to replace it with another Fed.
Yes, the question is, are the Democrats going to get anyone with enough balls to actually prosecute for all these things that are going on? And I don't know.
That's the question. That's it.
I mean, they are. There's a few of them that, and it's the ones you already know. Bernie and AOC and stuff like that, who are obviously fucking raging and trying to do stuff. But for the most part, they are all.
Even these guys, I don't know, they've been very good at being.
Visible.
Popular,
yeah,
and visible, yeah, and getting people interested in being the approachable face of politics. I don't think that's what they need right now. They need folk who are arseholes and just want to destroy, the MAGA crowd. Yeah, they don't need this kind of doing nice TikToks and being the nice guy.
No,
that was yesterday's news.
This thing of one side's playing by the rules and the other side isn't. If you're always playing against somebody with a fucking bent bat, you can't fucking.
They've played themselves so badly. I mean, I did think it was quite funny on Blue Sky. AOC put a tweet, it was probably just before the State of the Union. She's like, "Oh, if you were going, what would you do?" And I just thought it's taken them that long to ask the public what should we do. But it was always an admittance of we don't know what we're doing.
I would have made it mandatory that anybody attending went dressed like Zelensky.
Yeah.
And then I would have had one of them stand up and walk out every 2 minutes.
I think the problem with the Democrats is they are ego-driven just as much as the Republicans. And I think that the problem we've got is that if they do pivot into just doing exactly what you just said, Free, and kind of getting the job done properly, it would have to be like a mass admittance of like, yeah, we've kind of fucked this up for the last 15 plus years. And I can't really see the kind of ingrained long-term membership. I mean, you've seen it over here just with the SNP. Like, we're finally doing a bit of a clear out. I say we, I'm not like involved, but within like the Yes movement, we seem to be kind of moving a wee bit away from that kind of turfy radicalization shite. But it's taken 10 fucking years plus to get to the point of someone going, these people are a bit crap. We should actually go and get some decent folk in here to represent us. And I think it's just that's going to be the issue. And it's the same with AOC and Bernie as well. Even if they do rise to the occasion and they get in, it would still require a lot of Democrats that would have been very against them to sort of admit, oh, yeah, we were wrong about you. Actually, yeah, we'll give you the push now.
Did you see Gavin Newsom launched a podcast and his first guest on it, first guest speaker was Charlie Kirk. And what did they talk about? Trans issues. It's like, this guy was like a potential presidential candidate. They've got no clue, man. They're the wrong people.
Yeah.
It's the wrong ideas.
And they're everywhere. And it's like when I say the comparison to the Scottish Parliament, it's the same way. You look at Westminster, just like the clear out that would take so long, the process to start replacing it. Because it's not like a minority of the Democrats are the problem. It's like you need to actually just wholesale change. The team's been so badly managed for so long, but it's now just a stagnant sludge. And you're like, you would need to go in with someone at the top that actually knows how to like play this version of the game.
The problem
not the game from 20 years ago.
The problem we always get as well. I mean, you can see happening to the Labour Party to a certain extent what happened to the SNP when they got the big surge and they got like 56 fucking seats or something, which is that there's a whole load of people win seats that probably you had no expectation were going to win seats.
Yeah.
And they started things like punching people in the street and having to
starting podcasts and making statements to the press that they shouldn't do. And I think you're totally right that there's that. It's like, we need the numbers. And normally folk want to get in politics. You probably won't get elected anyway because you're shit. Oh crap, you have. And now I've got to manage you. And I mean, I think Swinney, has been a wee bit pivoting too much off America here. But briefly, I think that Swinney's pretty much said, like, look, trans rights are on the agenda. If you don't like it, fuck off. Yeah. And I think that Nicola should have done that a lot sooner. And I think that he's he's not brilliant, but he's a wee bit more in the ballpark of what you're talking about. He's not Mr. Popularity Contest, but he's a kind of relatively comparably safe pair of hands. And I think that with enough of an air of leadership, and I think that the Democrats that's kind of what you need. Someone that's going to come in and like take no shit, get the job done, but not, as you said, relying on like fucking TikTok gimmicks and all this. Hey, we're so nice and lovely and relatable and all this other nonsense, you know.
You see, sort of the Democrats, rightfully so, were being heavily criticised by the left wing of their base. Which is, the left wing of their base is just anybody with a fucking brain. I don't know what constitutes left wing in America. They're using these words all wrong. You just mean normal.
You're talking
normal, regular humans.
Left and right is gone. We have to stop saying it. Basically now it's progressive and conservative. You're either going forwards and going backwards.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
The thing that they talk about as being left is not anything to do with economics. It's if you're black, it's the woke mind bias. But they were obviously being heavily criticised by people going, what the fuck are you actually doing? Oh, nothing, because it looks like nothing. And then they pop their wee heads out their meerkat holes to go, stop saying that to us, we are doing stuff. And then it's come out that they had a strategy meeting and their actual strategy was do nothing. So they were fucking annoyed that everybody was going, yous are doing nothing. And they were like, hang on, we're doing nothing on purpose.
I do want to say, can I just put this on record? I've tried to get on Blue Sky as well. The silly little ping pong paddles, great heel gimmick for wrestling faction. That is 100% a heat getter. It is the most stupid, funny, dumb fucking baddie thing. Yeah, it's such a that everyone would hate you. Everyone would do that. It's so obviously bad, but it'd be a great wrestling gimmick.
Before that happened, we were joking in our WhatsApp chat. Like, oh, what do you think they're gonna do? because you'd said EOC put up a post
Yeah, I talked about that when
asking,
you were out of the room. Yeah.
and I jokingly said, I bet Hakeem Jeffries is going to take a really strong stance by imperceptibly shaking his head whenever come talk. Those paddles were worse. That's worse.
Some of them protested by wearing pink.
Fuck. Useless shower of cunts. Just get rid of a lot of them. They're fucking worse than useless because it's like malignant self-interest.
You know what it is? It's remember the episode of Red Dwarf
Yep.
where
You've seen it.
the episode of Red Dwarf where they'd all been had part of their personality sucked out by some space monster, and Rimmer had all his anger taken away, and he's like,
Give Keisha a chance.
Give Keisha a chance, yes. And that's always the problem with a big sort of volume. The reason they're
there was the line where it's like, first off, we're going to do a major, and I mean major leaflet campaign. Leaflet campaign, yeah. That's, yeah. Within the context of saying they're talking about going to destroy a big space monster, and this is Rimmer's suggestion about how to deal with a big space monster. Is to do it with the
Frighteningly
campaign.
accurate comparison.
Yes.
It's just a horrible combination of like smug, self-satisfied, useless losers. Like, you can't be both. How are you both somehow?
See, the problem is, I mean, I am somebody that in a normal political environment would say, if you've just had a shellacking in an election, the best thing that you can do in the short term is shut the fuck up and just wait, because the other side will inevitably start to do stuff, and that's the way you do it in normal political times. However, can we just point out that these are not, in fact, normal political times? We are, in fact, looking at the fash straight in the fucking eye, and that you do, in fact, have to fucking fight. And that means...
Plus, he's speed run what a normal bad government would do in like 2 years. He's done in 2 weeks.
Well, and this is one of the things that's interesting to me, because it's symptomatic to me of them being bad at this. Because had he just quietly salami sliced away at this thing, that thing, gradually, they'd have gotten away with all of it. Because that's that boiling the frog, fucking tedious metaphor. But the incremental changes people acclimatise to, work around and all the rest of it, the slash and burn that he's doing is because he knows he'll never get away with it long term. And therefore, he's got to do as much as possible quickly in the hope that you can't respond to everything.
I think part of this is just the people he's got around him now, because at least before, whilst all his cabinet from these last stint was people that we wouldn't like or agree with in anything, there was people at least who had a brain.
Yeah.
Now it's just really all that's left is your ass kissers now.
Yeah.
That will just do whatever he wants immediately.
So it's just as about the boiling frog. It's made me think there that, that probably is a bit of a separator with Elon and like the rest of that kind of billionaire type, where everything he's ever done, he goes down with a fucking hammer. Like, he doesn't understand that, like, to fuck people over successfully, you have to do it
gradually.
Like, Amazon's the Amazon slug slowly sliding its way into power and killing the high street and doing everything he did. It was incremental, as you say, where everything he's done without fail, it's been like a bold, sweeping, stupid thing out of the gates, and it's announced how bad he is, as Laura covered extensively in the Elon episode.
In his defence, if I was doing as much ketamine as he is, I would probably do some stupid shit as well. It's just, that's the entire defence, Not actually defending him. I do want him to kill himself. I think it would be for the greater good.
This is your brain on drugs.
Why are all the young kids avoiding the drugs and alcohol? They're looking at the leaders of the world right now and thinking, this doesn't look very good. I don't think we should do that.
Do you know who I blame for the Elon Musk element of all this? The fucking Big Bang Theory. I blame the Big Bang Theory for conditioning people to think that if somebody is weird and nasty, it means they must be a genius.
Yeah,
I love the image of the domino meme. It's just like Sheldon knocking over the smallest one. We're getting to World War.
If someone is extremely off-putting and awkward and visibly neurodivergent, he must secretly be a genius. I also kind of blame BBC Sherlock because they also gave people, they had no idea how a clever person's brain actually works.
Yeah, they did. They did.
It's like the whole like autodidact, autistic, super genius.
Which is not actually how Holmes was presented prior to that.
No,
because
I
he
would
showed-
say, I guess I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, and I did enjoy Sherlock as fucking TV spectacular. I did enjoy it, but I really, really like the original Sherlock Holmes stories, and they are great because they are one of the best unreliable narrator things you'll ever see, because it's all through Watson.
Yeah.
And in the books and in the stories, you hear Holmes chastising Watson about exaggerating things that have gone on. The clues are all there.
Yeah, so I don't have any critique of the source materials on their own, but I do think they have conditioned people to see a weird fucking guy doing ridiculous, unexplainable things and going, it must be because he's a super genius that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And neither do you who's criticising him. Do you have all these billions of pounds? It's like, no, because I'm not a psychopath.
To be a billionaire and to not be doing anything useful with it is a mental illness. It's a form of hoarding, in my opinion.
To have full control of the American government, as Elon Musk clearly fucking does right now, and to lose half your personal wealth during that time means you must be spectacularly fucking incompetent.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible. It's an almost impossible task, and he's managed it.
I mean, he's getting contracts cut off. One of the Canadian provinces was going to be using Starlink, and they've just gone, no, you can fuck off. We're not doing it.
Carlos Slim, the Mexican billionaire, cancelled a huge contract with Starlink as well.
I think you're on something with that. I think that the Sherlock thing I don't think is right, but I think that the Big Bang Theory is an interesting one, because I think it's the idea of if you're yourself are socially awkward, even if you're not like autistic, it's sort of the fantasy of like, well, the reason why I'm like this is because I'm actually really clever.
Too clever to
and it's also the idea that like it's like, well, I would be Sheldon's pal. So it's like that idea of like, and Elon Musk is like my mate. He goes on 4chan. He's playing Diablo too. Yeah, yes, I think actually it's not, there's layers to that beyond just the immediate kind of like, because this guy's a bit awkward, he must be really, really clever.
I'll be clear, it's specifically the BBC Sherlock that I'm talking about, not Sherlock as in general.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm just in a bit, even within the not very well written BBC version of it, he's still shown to be kind of like morally good, out to do improve society stuff, whereas like the Big Bang thing's not really wired up that way.
Different or media tropes in general. You're definitely right about that one. You like, and with Trump and Elon, you've got your kind of successful, self-made billionaire. You know, your Dallas characters. You know, from Dallas in the Dynasty. I don't know. I was going to say maybe Homer Simpson feeds in. This is well. You've got your kind of characters. You like your everyday idiot, but you know he's your main character. There's so many tropes there. That
so many American sitcoms are based on that sort of premise of dickhead dad, aren't they?
There's also like Biff Tannen was literally based on Trump. So was the bad guy in the Super Mario Brothers film was literally based on Trump. Yes. His character was based on Trump. We all know, like, Trump is evil. Obviously evil. J.D. Vance is the most obviously evil little demon I've ever seen, and I've seen lots. But what a despicable little fuck.
But his eye makeup is fabulous.
Oh, yeah, he's got that proper smoky eye going on. I want to punch him in both of his smoky little eyes.
Can we just talk a little bit? So, I mean, I don't fucking care if guys want to wear eyeliner. Do what you want, fucking have at it. Can we just talk about how strange it is that he does that?
Yeah. Everything about him is strange enough putting. He is just such a horrible, nasty little fucking toddler. I can't stand him. He has no self-regulation whatsoever, no ability to keep his own emotions in check. That display in the Oval Office, like, I'm sure it was a setup, but Trump and Vance, if that was a setup, how the fuck did you not manage to control yourselves a wee bit better and make yourselves come off a wee bit better? Because you came off fucking horrifically bad to everybody.
I loved the bit where it get fact checked. Zelensky said to him, why don't you come to Ukraine even once?
I know, he said,
And I
"I've
said,
seen it
well,
on-"
I have watched videos.
He was like,
My source is YouTube.
he went, "Listen, I've actually seen the videos," as if I haven't just been there.
I think, remember, that there's a brilliant comedy pause where the wheels turn. So Zelensky says, like, if you just came to Ukraine, I could just go, yeah, you're right. But no, I've got to come up with something. It's like, what have I done? I've seen videos. Right, that's it. Yeah, fucking top that one.
I've
right.
actually been consuming Russian propaganda on the subject, and I think you'll find that they say that you're a very bad.
TikTok, bro.
And the only reason that they're there is because NATO's encroaching. Right.
Catshit69 sent me a DM that better call the information I needed.
I'm all caught up now.
Another highlight was when Trump tried to correct Zelensky about when the war in his country had started. So I was like, yeah, the 2015. No, 2014. All right, well, I wasn't there. That's all that matters to you,
That's
isn't
a
it?
Jiminy Glick. That's like when he's doing the fucking Spielberg interview, and Spielberg's like, he's arguing back as Glick will do, and he's like, well, I produced the movie, I would know this. Like, yeah, well, you just produced it, I saw it.
It was just
So yeah, that is exactly what we're doing with you.